evening. I'm Abby Phillip in New York. Let's get right to what America is talking about. President Trump's monumental meltdown. Tonight, the walls appear to be closing in on the president. His war in Iran is as unpopular as ever as it stretches into its 100th day. Americans are worried about their finances more than ever before, and he's suffered a series of legal losses that are throwing his priorities for a loop. And his own party is now fiercely pushing back on some of his agenda. It all comes to a head during this interview with NBC's Kristen Welker on Meet the Press this weekend. Welker pressed Trump on a number of conspiracy theories, first about January 6th rioters, then the lie that California's election is rigged. But instead of responding with evidence or proof of any kind, Trump resorted to insults and smears before he stormed off altogether.
So I've cut a video out of that interview on the Iran segment, and he was being extremely gracious and patient. And so given what's happened throughout the interview, I think it's very reasonable that he left. It's almost respectful. And by the way that he exits, you can tell that he has manners. And we need to give credit where it's due. Trump turning up to all these interviews, knowing that the journalists are hell-bent on cornering him, demeaning him, and almost lecturing him, we need to realize this is not a normal politician, and that is a compliment. He is a man full of gumption and integrity. He turns up to these things fully fronting the extreme disrespect from the media, because the media knows that they get rewarded for it. They're getting something out of it. So, and by the way, this episode of CNN NewsNight is one of my favorite. By the end of it, even Abby gets rattled. Let's have a watch.
You know that these elections are rigged. Your network knows that they're rigged. You know that I won an election in a landslide, and I got 94% bad press.
But, Mr. President,
you know why I got that? Because you have no credibility.
But you've never presented evidence that it was rigged. Let's keep talking about, I want to talk about Todd
You have more evidence. There's more evidence than ever presented.
Let's talk
Your
about...
elections in this country, we're like a third world country. Your elections are crooked, and you're crooked, and Meet the Press is crooked, and so is ABC, and CBS, and CNN.
But, Mr. President...
You're one-sided crooked networks. All right, let's call it quits, because I've had enough. Thank you, darling. Have a good time.
Mr. traveled all the way to Wisconsin for this interview.
One of the most revealing things about that exchange is that she kept asking for proof. There was no proof being put on the table. And when the president attacks the media, calling them biased, it's usually because they're correcting him on some very obvious falsehoods, like the one that he tried to repeat in that interview. Charles?
Like, the president wants to say this. You have to let me lie without interrupting me. You have to let me lie and not push back on it. And if you don't give me that kind of coverage, then I do not like the media. And the other thing that the president does is that he substitutes himself for the country all the time. I think people have to really be careful when they listen to him, because as an authoritarian thing, when he says that they are the enemy of the country, he really means that they are the enemy of me because they won't let me lie.
What does he mean by the authoritarian thing?
When he says that people are attacking the country, he really means that they are attacking him. The substitution is a very real thing that happens with Donald Trump in the way that he communicates, and I think everybody needs to pay attention to that.
Why can't Trump take corrections, tough questions? Why can't he put proof on the table of his assertions?
Well, I think you watch the president more than anybody, and I hope everybody at this table would be honest about the fact that the president of the United States takes more tough questions on a daily basis than just about any other president in the modern era. Certainly the last one that we had. Oh, no, I think he should do this two to three times a week. This was a great interview.
Storm out of interviews?
Oh, no, absolutely, because the president's base and most of the country still views the mainstream media as very biased against them. They feel very demonized by the media. They feel very misunderstood by the media. They don't feel like the mainstream media.
That wasn't the question I asked. I asked why won't he present
to try to
actual proof of the thing that he's claiming.
Can I talk about that? Because that's always the comeback. Where's the evidence?
Yeah, because
the evidence is this.
If you're going to claim fraud, there should be some evidence.
Okay.
That's
the evidence is this. You have a California system that enables fraud to happen easily. You don't have voter ID. You have mass mail-out ballots. You have voter harvesting.
That's not evidence. That's
Time out.
That's just a description
Can I just
of an
finish?
electoral system.
It's an electoral system that's ripe for fraud.
Ripe for fraud is not fraud.
And then you
that
have
is not fraud.
No, but then you have statistical anomalies where you have Rahman, who was third place, was good, getting 20% of the vote, and then the vote after the election day, she gets 40% of the vote.
I don't
that's a total
speculation is also not true.
Hold on just one second, because I just want
infuriating to watch people try to make speculation into proof.
We are going to spend
It's not speculation, that's data.
Segment.
That is not data.
We're going to spend a whole
That is
segment
not
on the
data.
California race in just a moment. So we're going to talk through some of the stuff that you're talking about there. But I actually think that we can boil it down much more simply than this. Trump falsely believes that he won the 2020 election that he lost. When he is challenged on that, he gets upset and he storms out of an interview. Explain that one.
They were talking about the mayoral race in California, and he was talking about the fraud there, the rigged election there.
Okay.
That's what they were
It's rigged? You believe it's rigged?
I do believe it's rigged.
Oh, my God. We can wrap this show up.
100% rigged.
We can wrap this show up.
He also was talking about
his favorite obsession, which is 2020.
What's that?
In that exchange, he also was talking about the election that he lost in 2020.
Well, he talked about
that,
the 95%. He also got mad because he has
So,
90%.
what's the explanation for that?
95% negative press coverage. He's sitting there in a negative press interview.
What does press
What
conference
is
have
a
to do with
negative
the
press
fact that she
interview?
asked for proof of fraud?
Here's the thing about the president. When he was candidate Trump and they had the primary and he lost to Ted Cruz, the first thing he said was it was rigged. And he insisted that the state officials change the actual results of that primary. You remember that. And Ted Cruz was very upset by that because he called Ted Cruz a liar. That was what, 10 years ago. So to characterize this conversation without an understanding of who he has been, I think is unfair to the conversation we're supposed to be having now. He's always done this.
Caroline also suggested that Trump loves taking tough questions, but here is his very real history of not taking tough questions that he doesn't like. Listen.
Your first statement was, are you ready for tough questions?
Are you?
That's no way to talk. It's no way to talk. I think we have enough of an interview here, Hope. Okay, that's enough. Let's go.
If somebody asked me this question in that tone, even in normal conversation, it doesn't even have to be a media question, media interview, I would feel the disrespect. I'm not sure if I will call it out that immediately because I'm not Donald Trump. Like, I still have some people that I need to impress in my day-to-day life. And I think that's precisely what the media hates about him, because he's not beholden to the media. He's not beholden to the party machine. Because most politicians, that they can be bought with millions of dollars. That's pretty cheap. When it comes to a nation state, a few $1 million is pretty cheap. But Donald Trump can't be bought with even deca million. You know what I mean? He can't even be bought with tens of millions because he's a billionaire. So I think the media is extremely jealous of him and what he represents, notwithstanding the fact that he is a conservative president. If he was a lefty president, if he was a lefty billionaire president, I think it would be a very different story. Or people will still be jealous of them because that's what they do. The leftists genuinely hate competence and achievements. But do you blame him for walking out? I would do the same if I had his resources, if I don't have to impress nobody. And that's the kind of person, that's the archetype you want to be the president of America. Because you don't want someone who can be easily bribed, someone who has a lot of people that he's beholden to. Donald Trump, whether or not you like his policies, he is genuinely doing what he believes to be best for America.
Let's go.
The only way it's not going to happen again is you have to solve the problem of the presidential rigged election of 2020.
Mr. President, if I
very
may.
much.
Wait, one more question.
The woman that
that you said was a great doctor. In that video that you retweeted last night said that masks don't work and there is a cure for COVID-19, both of which health experts say is not true. She's also made videos saying that doctors make medicine using DNA from aliens and that they're trying to create a vaccine to make you immune from becoming religious.
Well, maybe it's the same, maybe it's not.
Last week, well, real quick. Last
Okay,
week,
thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
Okay. Listen,
Okay,
There's
no.
hold on, because I haven't spoken. There's two different things that I think need to be addressed in the clip that we saw from the Meet the Press interview. The first is him alleging that he didn't lose the 2020 election. Trump and his team filed over 60 challenges in court and lost every single one of them. So there is no evidence that held up in court. That's number one issue. The second issue, which to me is just as horrible and needs to be discussed, is his consistent berating and insulting and ad hominem attacks, particularly against women. Whether it's
Give
Kristen,
me a break.
What do you mean give me a break? Kristen Welker this week.
Discredits Kristen.
Caitlin Walker,
I'm
Caitlin
sorry.
Collins last
I've
week.
worked with
The woman
Kristen
he
when I
called
worked at
Piggy.
the White
Will
House.
you give
For
me a
you to
break?
say
Have
that
you
you're
no
going up
shame
against
as a
those
woman
women? No.
that we hear
Kristen
him
was
call them
tougher
ugly
on-
and piggy and
Kristen
crooked
was
and
tougher
liars
on him
and
in
stupid
that
and bad
interview
journalists?
than I have seen
you
most.
absolutely
That's
no
probably the
solidarity with
toughest
women?
interview I've
Oh
seen
my
him
God, I
face
can't believe you sit
today.
here and tell
He
me to give
pushed
you a
up
break.
against
But
her
in
hold on.
this
because she was a
network,
tough
we hear
journalist.
him.
Hold on,
How could
hold
tell
on.
our journalist
Caroline,
that
let me let
she's
her
not
finish,
fit to
because
be
she
a
didn't finish her
journalist
thought.
because she doesn't smile? How dare you tell me to give you a break? Have some shame.
Why would
don't
the
you?
president tell a woman that she doesn't smile enough when she's working, asking him a question?
Because he's an equal opportunity offender, and let's not pretend. Let me
Okay.
explain how the
Give me
game.
another example of
Let
him
me
telling
explain
a
how the
man-
game. Let me explain how the game works.
Give me an
because
example
let
of
me-
him being equal
Let me explain how the game
opportunity
works, because
with
Caitlin
that
got something out of that
particular
exchange
insult,
too.
Caroline.
The president gets a lot out of having combative exchanges with journalists. His base loves it. His poll, that's why I said he should do 2 to 3 more of these a week. His poll numbers go up. But Caitlin's getting something out of it too. So many journalists have made their careers in this country off of being combative with President Trump, Caitlin Collins included, Jim Acosta, many former people. It is all part of the game. It is all part of the
It's
theater.
not a
She's
game.
tough.
It's
She
not-
can
why
take
is it a
it.
game
But
to
the
you?
fact that you guys are going to call this a woman problem, Kristen did one of the toughest interviews I have seen someone do with the president up
And
to
he
date,
walked
and
up
she
and
deserves
left
credit for
because
that.
he couldn't
But
take it.
He didn't push back.
She
she's
flew
a
all
woman.
the way to
He just pushed
Wisconsin,
back.
left,
She was tough
left her, and
questions.
did
Grow up.
went to do her job. No, the guy needs to grow up. He's the president of the United States. He needs to grow up, and instead of walking out, having
many
a
interviews did
tantrum
Biden
and
do?
taking-
How many interviews did Biden
And
do
how
like
much-
that?
I am 100% on board with Caroline Sunshine.
Did an interview.
Okay, if Biden is back in the White House, we can discuss it.
The Biden is like a reflex.
Separate
Jesus.
conversation
It's the truth.
than just
So the 2020 election.
Biden, blah, 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 Biden,
Guys,
blah, 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 blah,
one
blah,
at a time,
Biden.
please. Elsie, you were making a point.
Abby really didn't mediate that altercation. She really enjoyed that. And by the way, Biden, really the way that Dems treated him was an elder abuse. He really needed to rest.
I get it. You want the president to look good.
I get it. You want to talk about 2020. I mean, I'm bringing up Biden.
I actually brought up 2015 when he started beginning the lies
did that too.
about talking about how elections have been stolen. I was just letting you know there's a pattern here that's been 2 years long. That's why I brought that up. But to the point I'm trying to say right now is that what do you want this nation to gravitate towards? The behavior that we've seen in which you berate women, or behavior in which you learn how to negotiate with someone that you don't agree with, but you don't need to yell or get up and
not
leave it
about
at an
women, it's
interview.
about-
It's the one way that you will
Hal,
berate
let-
women because
Hal,
apparently
let me
it's
ask
good
you
for
this
your
because
image.
I hear you pushing
That's the
back
thought, yeah.
on LZ and Anna and suggesting that maybe this is somehow about Joe Biden, which it's not. Are you comfortable with Trump being challenged on something and rather than defending his point, just simply storming off of
Look,
an interview?
he did defend his point. She kept on and on with the same
How did
question.
he defend it?
What did he defend?
He said that he thought
Where's
the
the
election
proof?
was rigged. He answered the
Yeah,
question.
and she asked for proof, and he provided
But
what?
it goes back. He talks about what I just said. If you look at the whole election
You did
system
what you
in
said didn't make any
California-
sense.
Of course it does.
No,
Look,
it doesn't make any
listen,
sense.
and I'm not-
and it's not a fact.
I just want to
and
be
it's
clear.
not proof.
I
It
just
is
wanna-
a fact.
I just
It's
want to be
not
clear.
proof.
We are going to tackle what you were saying about California because there is no proof of what
There
you're
is
saying
no
about
proof.
California. But in this particular segment, I want to deal with the long-running Trump obsession, which he also brought up in that interview, with his loss in 2020, which he has now tasked the government with trying to validate, even though there's no proof of it. Why is it that when he is challenged on that, He can't answer for it.
Look, we know there were, after the fact, we know there were problems in Arizona. We know there were problems in Georgia. We know after investigation.
they?
You can't prove that in 45
What
days.
were they,
Okay?
Hal?
There is plenty of evidence that many individuals committed electoral fraud. It's just that the court couldn't prove that they are orchestrated. So when these journalists, including Abby, when they're asking for evidence in a whim, they're literally just gloating. The court adjudicated there is no systematic electoral fraud, but there has been plenty of individual fraud, enough to question the outcome of the election. Let's get that fact right.
It's been 6 years.
What were they?
What were the problems?
There were problems with the voters in Georgia. They
What's
found
wrong?
there were voters that were
Where's the
voters
fraud?
that
There was no problem
How
in
many
Arizona.
fraudulent votes were cast in Georgia? Because I live in Georgia. I want to hear you lie about
And
this.
I lived in Arizona.
That's a lot. Okay, first of all,
I lived in
we can't
Arizona.
have this
There was
conversation.
nothing
We
wrong
can't have this
with Arizona
conversation.
either.
This man just said that there were thousands of
the more
false
you guys
fraudulent
yell
votes.
there's no fraud, the more likely there was fraud.
No,
It's
the
amazing.
more that you lie, the more we're going to push back on the fact that you are
81
lying.
million votes.
The Heritage Foundation keeps the largest database on voter fraud.
This is so
of
ridiculous.
anybody.
I want to
They
walk
keep-
off
They keep
this
30.
thing.
They keep.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm going to finish this point. I'm going to finish this
Hold on
point.
a
They keep
second.
30 years. They've tracked 32 elections, 100 million votes. They have found 39 total cases
That's so
of
absurd.
voter
It's
fraud.
so
Well, you
absurd.
so
That's
so
absurd.
the Heritage Foundation is
Where's your
absurd.
proof?
absurd.
Where's your proof?
Where's your proof?
I just cited my source. What is your source?
I got a question for
I
you.
just cited no, because I don't want
Wait,
to.
hold on,
I want to
Hal.
know what
Hold
your
on,
source
hold on,
is.
Hal. You said
What
it's
is your
absurd.
source?
Why is it
Mine is
absurd?
the
Here's why
Heritage
it's
Foundation.
absurd. Do you think there's no H-1B visa
Where is
fraud?
your source?
Do you think there's no
You
Medicare
don't-
fraud?
you don't have
Do you think
any
there's
source.
no home health care
There-
fraud?
and this
Can
is
you
the-
let me finish and
You are
speak?
not saying a source.
Guys.
You are not saying a source.
There's fraud all over
Where
the
is
federal
your
government. There's
source?
fraud all over the states from
Where is
federal
your
funding.
source?
And yet there's no voter fraud?
You
Hold on a
are you
second.
kidding me?
What is
The
your
idea
source?
that you're sitting here trying to convince
there
us
Medicare
based
fraud or
on
not?
no source whatsoever
Is there Medicare fraud?
to trust your word and
Unbelievable.
trust the president's word when we know he is lying.
Unbelievable.
And I want to know if you think there was the risk. I want to know if we're sitting here with two
Charles,
election deniers.
Just a second.
Do you
Guys,
think it's rigged as
actually
well?
do
Tell
wanna
me there's
get
no fraud in anything. Medicare, Medicaid, H-1B visas, nothing.
You have no source.
Charles Blow is behaving like this because he knows this is CNN. And I don't want to be too critical because I think it's good that Abby Phillip is hosting both conservative and the left. But really, Charles behaves like a little boy who knows a mama is going to look after him.
And you're going to get louder and louder,
Charles,
and it's still not going to work.
California
Stop
won't
talking.
allow the federal government to
Louder
audit
and louder, and it's
Charles
still
and
not
Hal,
going to
stop
work because you
talking.
don't have a single source
Charles,
in your
They won't let
whole
them
body.
audit. They won't let them
Stop
audit
talking.
the polls.
Guys, stop talking. Because y'all are talking so loud. But to be honest, Hal, you're not saying anything of
Anything.
substance
Okay, I think I
in
am.
this
No, you're
conversation.
See what the viewers think.
Where's your source?
Caroline,
Caroline,
My God, they won't let the federal government even audit their
hold on a
rolls.
second. Caroline wants
can
to
we
have
get a
a
source?
quick word, and then we're going to go to a
By the
break.
way, I would just add, the president has agreed to do a second interview with Kristen Welker,
girl,
which doesn't
please.
We wanna
surprise
know
me
if you're
at
an election
all.
denier.
So Kristen will have her own time to, I'm
stop
sure,
for that.
ask him for further evidence.
ma'am.
So it's like, you've been upset about this
Ma'am.
long enough.
We
You
are
can
gonna
do a
leave
second
that.
one, way more than Biden
We're
ever
going
did.
to leave that right there. Next for us, the president and MAGA are pushing false conspiracies about the California elections being rigged. As reality TV star Spencer Pratt loses the mayor's race, is this a preview of the midterms? Plus, tonight marks 100 days since the start of the war with Iran, and Trump is issuing a warning to Israel. We'll discuss.
Thank you for listening. Subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.